Today's guest is a woman of faith, a mom of two boys, and the author of two books, Do It Anyway and Parent, Thrive, and Win, which we're going to discuss in today's segment. She's a speaker, blogger, podcaster, and the winning single mom. She holds a master's in Spanish literature, runs three businesses, and is a certified principal. Her motto is do it anyway, because you can dream about it or you can be about it. Brave Hearts community, let's show some love to the beautiful Kwanda Lamb. How are you doing?
Thank you so much. I'm doing great. Hey, Brave Hearts community. Man, it's been a good 10 years, if not more. Okay. I think I just had my Twitterversary this month too. Wow. I think '09 I got on the platform. Wow. So that's some years right there. It's a pleasure to be on. Thanks for having me.
Yes, it's been a long time and just glad to be connected again. So this segment is special to me, and especially to who are single moms today. This is really going to be a blessing to them as well, but to anyone who's going to listen, who knows? So we want to make sure that we bless everybody today. Let's jump into this because I don't want to waste any of your time because I'm really excited about this topic. Can you give us a short version of your story to becoming a single mom of two boys?
Woo! How can I condense that down? All right. So good girl, Christian, grew up in the church, was a virgin till I was 21, wasn't thinking about boys, couldn't date in high school. I run off to college where I'm majoring in business. And I meet this football player and I'm thinking, hey, he's going to be like all the other guys who tried it. I'm still going to have my virginity and, I'm just going to get to know him. Well, honey, that's not how it went down. A couple months later, I'm feeling funny. I'm like, what's going on? Embarrassed. I go to my mom and she literally was like, let me get my belt. And I was like, I'm pregnant. You can't whip me. You can't whip my baby. And so, so many things happened so fast. I had friends who had already lost their virginity. I knew, what sex was. It just wasn't something I was interested in because I wanted to marry the one. I wanted to be the good girl, the Christian. I wanted to have my life together when I had kids, the, White House and the picket fence and the perfect mate. And when it didn't happen that way, I was like, God, why me? So never married. And people are always like, oh, I thought you were divorced. And I was like, no, never married. And of course, people encouraged us to get married. They encouraged me to marry him. And what I realized is what I was seeing from him, with two children, because we went back and got the second one, trying to work things out, trying to make it, trying to build. And I realized I was trying to make it and build on my own.
Are you tired of dating the same person, just different faces? Are you tired of people wasting your time in this whole dating process? Do you desire to marry one day? I created this 5-part video series entitled Dating Intentionally, 5 Ways to Know They Are the One for You. You can get it now in the comment section below. You will see it is 5, the number 5, ways to know.podia.com. I created this 5-part video series with you in mind. Now let's get back into today's podcast episode.
So I was like, why should I marry someone just so I don't have the stigma or the label of single mom when right now what I'm seeing out of him is what I'm going to get. And I'm going to get more than that. And is that something I want to sign up for? And so I said no, right? And my family was disappointed. Things, fell apart between us anyway. And I was still trying to, get us to co-parent. So I'd given up on us being together, given up on the ideas that we have of what the perfect family should be like. And, let's just work together. Well, I hung around in Louisiana for about 3 years. And when I saw that it wasn't working, I started looking for what's next and best for me. What's next and best for me and my boys? How can I build a better life for us? And I moved us to Texas, and the rest is history. And so I told you all that long story because I know you cater to speak to, women of faith. And I want you to know that the thing that led me here was God. You know what I mean? Not thing. The person who let me know it was okay to let go, the person who kept me, who held me, who supported me, who said, hey, forget what these humans are saying. I've forgiven you. I still love you. I haven't thrown you away, right? And so that's what I think you have to process when you become a single mom, especially if you're a Christian and you've been trying to do all the right things. We have to process that we're not perfect. We have to process that we're going to fail. And we have to process that, guess what? God still loves us. So I tell you that long story just to say that I've raised two boys. They're now young adults. They are 22 and 20.
Really?
And I've been able to build, a life that I love. And so, yeah, what's the next question?
Wow, they are 22 and 20.
Bro, when we started, can you imagine 10 years ago, their age as to now, like seeing that, trajectory and the range. And I'm so proud of them. Like they're really doing amazing. And so for people who say they won't let their kids, date a son, their daughters date a man who was raised by a single mom, or, they won't date single women. I'm just like, some of y'all are stuck in the stone ages. And there are more of us out here than you think. There are lots of single dads who remarry, all kinds of stuff. And so it's just so interesting, when I hear those kinds of stories. And I just tell people, hey, you don't want to date a person who believes like that anyway, you know? So yeah, they're doing good. They're doing great. And their dad, came around like 2 or 3 times in this whole time period, this whole 16 years. And I never raised them to be mad at him or to dislike him or to disrespect him. Always kind of left the lines of communication open, and he made his choices. And so the boys are well-rounded. Of course, they would have preferred having their dad, knowing that he loved them and supported them instead of just words. But, it is what it is, It just is what it is. Keep on living your life, ladies. Keep on living your life, men. We can't make other people do what we want, but we can pick up and do what we can with the life we have left. And that's how I like to live.
Yes, I love that because, of course, I'm, a believer, and I struggle with the whole forgiveness piece and going through a divorce. And I always tell people my marriage was over. I was still in it, right? And I'm just trying to hang
Trying
on.
to make it work, trying to make it work.
Yeah, right. Trying to make it work. And I'm just like, oh my God, God is gone. If I go through with this divorce, my life is going to be hell because God hates divorce. Like all these narratives that I'm playing in my head. So
that people said,
yeah.
Because where did he say he hates it? He said, give her a writing of divorcement. It's in the Bible. Go check your Bible.
Yeah.
Okay. He did not say he hates divorce. People like to take scripture and make it be what they want it to be. My youngest son, and I have been taking him to work back and forth. And I work from home now, running my businesses, all that. And so trying to support my youngest, trying to help him chase his dreams, just like I did with the oldest. Instead of him purchasing a car yet, I'll take him, teaching him to drive, which he should have his license, but okay, let's not even go there. Let's stay on topic. And so one of the things we've been doing is listening to the Will Smith autobiography, like his memoir. It's so good, but then it's just like, bro, ooh, like y'all put all your business out in front of the world, and thank you for giving us nuggets that we could hopefully listen to and kind of heal from. But one of the things that, people who don't understand what they're trying to do, they said, oh, so y'all are in a bad marriage and you're just going to stay in a bad marriage? Because, when she, had her red table, he said his things. He didn't like how some stuff went down. Obviously, this open relationship kind of stuff. Well, anyway, he didn't really talk about that in the book, but he talked about getting to this point of how he's had some failed relationships. So he did not want to go through a divorce. And so I hear you when you say, like, God is not going to be pleased if I go through with this divorce. And it's like, did God really say that? Did God really say that?
No. And looking back, as I hear you say this, I'm like, if I had known that some years ago, I would have possibly ended it quicker, but that was the narrative. And I guess I was being super churchy.
You care about people. You're trying to make it work. Yeah.
Yeah. And I always tell people this because some people don't know I even rebranded. We've been connected long enough to know that I rebranded.
Yes.
But going through that process, it was a painful one. And I was already doing this YouTube stuff. So I felt like a super failure. I'm like, I'm doing this stuff publicly and it burned right before my eyes. So Yeah, it was a process for sure, but thank God for therapy
Thank
and
God for therapy. And let's say that again, Black men. Let's say that again for all the other Black men to hear, especially the men who like to date us. Because the Black women, we are the biggest starters of businesses. We will go to all the conferences. We are getting all the self-help. We are diving into making ourselves better and improving ourselves. And we want to see the men that want to love us also do the same. And so they need to know it's okay to talk to an objective voice who is certified to lead you and guide you through those steps. And so, getting therapy is not a bad thing. And doing whatever you can to get to your healed place so that you can be a beneficial partner, right? It's time out for us to be replicating what we saw growing up. I didn't have a two-parent household, but when I hear people talk about my dad was there, but he wasn't present.
Mhm.
And so then now this guy grows up, he's there, but he's not present. Let's stop repeating these cycles, right? Let's break these things. And so kudos to you for saying no to something that wasn't serving you. And kudos to you for, getting the help that you need and loving the family that you have. And hopefully being respectful to the family that you did have. You know what I mean? I know y'all had kids or shared, step kids and stuff. So it's hard. It's hard. I know I'm your guest, but I just felt like I needed to say that.
Well, no, it's all good because you're a podcaster and stuff, so I get it. It happens a lot. The whole
No, it's the coaching that comes out. I'm
yeah,
always
right.
coaching somebody. So I felt like I needed to say it. And again, it's to help you, but maybe it'll help somebody else to see that it's okay. Like we don't have to be perfect, right?
That's right. And I had to learn that. And here it is. I'm 45 years old, so I'm considered old school to a lot of these younger people, and I went and got therapy. So if I can do it, you can do it too.
My high-pitched holler, I'm busting up. I'm country, y'all. Get accustomed to it.
It's all good. I'm out here in Texas, so I get it.
Welcome, bienvenido a Texas.
Oh, I know. My Spanish is bad. Don't let me get started.
It's okay. We can help you with that whenever you're ready.
I know, right? Because I know you are great in that area. I was doing some research on census.gov, and they talked about children living with a mother only is the second most common U.S. living arrangement, a number that has doubled since 1968. Why do you feel?
38 million.
Yeah, right. How do you feel about so many single mothers leading homes today?
I think we're doing what we have to do. I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it is a sign of how we've prepared women in our communities and how we haven't prepared men. And I know men don't want to hear that. What has happened?
Can you talk about that a little more if you want to, please? Because that's good.
I learned how to run a house at the age of 9. My grandmother, my mom and her 5 kids lived with her parents. So I was raised by my grandmother basically because my mom had me as a young single mom. I never thought I would be a single mom, tried to do all the right things to never be, right?
Yeah.
I didn't think anything about it, but who would want to raise their kids by themselves, right? You want to have a 2-parent household. So at 9, I love being around my grandmother. She's like so much of who I am. And she taught me how to bake and she taught me how to cook. And so just little things at the age of 9. By the time I was 14, I was running a house. So when single parenting happened to me, I was already running the house. I had my own apartment. I had my own car. I had my own job. I was running a life. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, even with everything that I do as a, when I was in education, as a principal, I could run a building. I never served as a principal, but I could do it. Mm-hmm. And so being a business major, all those things, I synthesize that stuff because I'm a girl, right? And I'm taught to be able to do lots of tasks at one time, be able to support my man, love my man, take care of my kids, keep my house clean, work a job, and stay sane. We're taught to do that. Y'all can go outside and play. You can build stuff, right? They don't have y'all doing too many chores around the house. And they don't even have y'all doing a whole bunch of deep thinking and talking about your emotions. And so when we get into relationships with men, we got all this talking we want to do. We got all these ideas, and we're just doing lots of things. And I think sometimes men say that's intimidating. And so what I say is not that we need to raise men the way we raise girls, but I do think we need to give our men more life skills. Now, there are some men whose parents taught them, whose dad was there, who showed them how to grill, how to do the yard, how to do all these things. But I think that we find ourselves with the huge numbers of single parenting families because we haven't been taught how to do relationship and how to actually be each other's helpmate. What our men get the message of is that she's supposed to look good. She's supposed to be fine. She's supposed to meet all of your needs. She's supposed to cook and clean and take care of the kids. And she works too, while you just work, while you just bring home the bacon, while you sit in your armchair, because we saw that on TV.
Yep.
Because a lot of us grew up without the dad in the home.
Mm-hmm.
And if we grew up with the dad in the home, then we may have seen him not be as, focused, because what we have to do that I think is this really big boom that we're having is a lot of us are becoming more self-aware. And I'm 44, about to be 45 as well. And so I'm looking at what I know and I'm trying to figure out, how do I pass down the right things to my boys? So what kind of conversations do I need to be having with them so that they are better mates for the women that they're going to date? And that number of single parenting households, I think there's a lot of things that have been set up against us. And I guarantee you African-American women are the biggest number in that. Look at what's totally marketed to our men all the time: sex, drugs, big booties. We got women putting their lives on the line for BBLs and thin waists. God bless y'all. Do what you want, ladies. All right. We have all of that happening, but we don't see a lot of men going to those same lengths to, be the most appealing, the sexiest. What they do is they get the money. Well, I got the money, so you just need to hush. Let me pay for everything. Let me do what I want. And what kind of relationship does that make? Women don't want to be your things. Right? If we're going to be in a relationship, we want to be in a relationship. So I think then those two things start, doing this. And then the guy's like, forget it. It's easier for me to just go be with somebody else than to work this out with you, because we haven't learned to communicate. But anyway, let me stop. I got all the ideas.
No, and this is why you're on the show, because I know you know what you're talking about. I mean, I have learned, especially with remarrying, teamwork and working together for one common goal. We got these kids. If she's giving the boys baths, I'm washing dishes. If she's vacuuming, I'm folding clothes. Like all these different things in order for us to make our house work. And because we both, like you say, we both work full-time jobs. So who am I to sit at the table and be like, where my plate? I gotta work just like she do. So.
But you're enlightened and you understand that you have a different level of caring for your mate, and you've been through marriage before. You know what you want. And this is what I tell people. I'm like, and folks are like, why are you still single? Hello. I saw a lot of dudes that wanted me to be the maid. They wanted me to be the model. They wanted me to, look good. They wanted me to do all the things that I do and look good for them on their arm in front of their friends. I'm not signing up for that. I think that is the most foolish, annoying thing. I don't have time to spend any of my hours doing that with any of you. You know what I mean? And so when I see people talk about high value Black men and high value men and the kind of women that they want, I just tune out. If a dude comes to me talking about he's a high value Black man, he may as well keep walking. Nice to meet you, sir. Goodbye. Please stop. No more commentary from you, because you're leading with your money when nobody knows who you are. How does your personality and their personality connect? What goals and dreams do you have? What kind of father are you going to be? Are you going to be a good leader? Can she follow you? Will you help her out around the house, or will you take some of that high value money and pay for the things that we need, like a nanny? Okay, like a chef to come up in here, because I'm not about to do all of it. You know what I mean? And so I love that you said that, but you've gone on your journey, and I'm sure you were like this before in the other marriage, right? Doing all you can, giving all you can, and being as supportive as you can be, right? And it's sad because I think nobody wants to hear the word divorce. And I don't know that people don't want to hear it because of society, because of what family will say, or because they really want to save that thing. You know what I mean? And so I think when we get honest with ourselves about if something isn't working, it's easier to just let go.
Yeah,
After you've tried all you can, you know what I mean?
yeah.
So tell me about Scary to Remarry just a little bit. Let's let the viewers know what Scary to Remarry is real quick.
Yeah, for those who, who might
Might
not.
have just popped in.
Yeah, it's all good. It came from, because people say, well, you took a leap of faith and you wasn't scared to remarry because, you remarried 6 months, what I'm saying, going after getting out of your divorce, you relocated. So you're not that scared. But what people don't understand is there was a process I had to go through during the separation of crying in the shower,
Mm,
praying to God, silence, just being home alone while my ex-wife had my daughter. I'm just like in my own place by myself. I haven't done that in 15 years. I was married to this woman for 15 years. So I'm sitting here thinking, do I really have what it takes to do this again? Because I felt like I wanted to. I still felt like I had love to give, and I've learned a lot and matured. So if I'm out here talking to people or trying to date again, I'm very hesitant about going through this because I don't know if I have what it takes, because I said I do before, but I didn't follow through.
you follow through. You follow through, right?
Yeah, I did, but I'm so tough on myself,
Yeah.
so there was some trepidation in that. I was just like, I don't know. But I mustered up the faith, and I believe that. And I think a lot of that came from healing.
Yeah.
Um,
Wow. I love that. So let's say this,
mhm.
I know you're interviewing me, but I'm really curious now. Um, how do you know when you've encountered the one, the next one, the best one? What was it about your current wife that let you know, not only am I ready to date, but I want to marry this woman? And I think that looking at my situation, being a single mother, encouraging single mothers, talking about all the things I like to talk about, one of the things we're always interested in, especially from men, is, how do you know when you're ready?
I think for me, a lot of it came from forgiving my ex-wife, right? And admitting my issues. I think that's the first step. I know I struggled with like stonewalling, and I wasn't emotionally mature as I thought I was. So I think that's the first thing. The second thing is, once you meet this person, if they and this is just my theory,
Mm-hmm.
because nobody's perfect. If somebody has 80% of what you're looking for,
Mm-hmm.
take the 80 and run, because nobody's perfect. I
Mm-hmm.
think a lot of people go wrong when they have the 80, and that's just my little litmus test. People are different.
Mm-hmm.
But when you find your 80, you run. The problem
Mm-hmm.
with a lot of people is we have social media, we got these dating apps. They like, I like 80, but maybe I can try to get 90.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And they try to put the 80% on hold while they try to go and find somebody else to see if they can find that 90. So I think that's where a lot of people go wrong. Some people might have had the right one, but they just couldn't, they didn't understand being content.
Yes. And the thing that I talked about earlier when I said how women are socialized and how men are socialized,
Mhm.
when you don't have the skills to recognize that she's different, everything about her makeup is different. And then you're different, and you're both really trying to figure each other out. And then how, like you said, you work together with your wife, how to really come in and build a team. And that's how you're going to be able to build a life. I also do think, and I'm glad that you do this, I think it's more like premarital counseling almost that you do, right? Getting people prepared for the relationships and marriage. Is that they have to start being realistic about what this process really is going to be. Because let's carry the honeymoon forward. I'm sure you can. I'm sure it's possible, but there are going to be some days when life just happens, right? She's not going to feel like it. You're not going to feel like it. And I think if we give people grace for that, it can get better. But talking to single moms out here who are like, I'm looking for my mate. Where is he? How, why haven't I found him? I'm this great woman. Even my boys went from being preteens. We moved when they were like 4 and 6, and I just knew I was going to get married, met a couple guys in there and I was like, okay, sure. I'm thinking I would do that. And then some things popped up and I was like, but I don't want to do that for 50 years, because I'm thinking long term, like I only want to do this once, and I get it. But I don't think I'm going to be broken up if I ever have to go through divorce. Because if I'm just like, I don't want to do this anymore, or if he's like, hey, I want to do something different, sir, listen, you got one time to tell me you want to do something different. Do you know who I am? Okay. And you want to do something? All right, then here you go. Give me the papers. And I think that comes from being independent for so long. You know what I mean? That independence can get you in trouble. That independence can get you in trouble. And so I think too, for men who are dating women who've been accustomed to being independent, it's a different angle. So you got to come in knowing that she's used to doing some stuff for herself. Because I think the number one complaint men have is she doesn't seem like she needs me. And it's not that she doesn't need you. She may not know how to verbalize asking for help.
Yeah, that is so true. Because my wife, she was a single mom. She nurse, everything. She had her own life, so she was doing her own thing. But one thing that really helped us, because we have our own individual therapist and then we have our marriage therapist. So one thing that helped us was she was able to verbalize to me what she needed. But I think that only came with her feeling safe, when she felt like I was a safe place for her, where she can be her authentic self and take off the armor. Then she was like, all right, really, I'm tired of all this stuff. And I I need your help.
I'm tired of the representative. I'm tired of being this perfect. I'm tired of being everything I think I'm supposed to be, when you get married. And that's what I'm telling y'all. It's like so many messages from society and family. So now how can these two humans build something beautiful, build that bond, build that connection? And I think that's what I've been looking for. And I realized from you that I need to be looking at that 80%, because we're going to have to work on that 20.
Yeah. I mean, we was on Skype every night, because we lived in 2 different states. We read books together, and I tell people
intimacy. I love that.
Yeah, right. We read books together, and there was so much I found out. Well, so much we found out about each other by reading books. We're like, okay, we're gonna read this chapter. I'm gonna read this chapter. We're gonna read them tonight. We're gonna get on the phone on Skype and talk about the chapter we read. Whatever you highlighted, let's talk about it. And you find out so many other things besides your basic, what's your favorite color? What's your favorite popcorn? Right? You find out so much more. I remember when I was 15 and this happened. I haven't thought about that in years. So now you having this full-blown conversation, and you just like, oh, I ain't even expect to go there. But since we here.
Yeah. Now, I love that. And I hope every man that's watching this adds this to his arsenal, because I think sometimes we live in a microwave society and everybody wants things now. Yeah. But it sounds like what you guys did was take the time to really get to know each other, even if you didn't know that that's what you were doing with processing. How does her mind work? How does she think? How is she processing politics? What's going on in the world right now? Religion, faith. How do you feel about parenting? What if we have kids? All those things that we really need to be talking about, instead of that 3-letter text WYD. Oh, sir, you could just don't even message me. Do you know how many degrees I have, how much studying I've done, like the vocabulary I have, the things I like to talk about? WYD does not stimulate me, Oh my goodness. And then we know that they don't really want the response. I'm cooking, I'm washing clothing, I'm working on a sales page, I'm getting ready to do some stuff for a client. They don't want that. Oh, nothing, just talking to my home girl. They don't want that. And we are so tired of, like she said, let me take all this armor off. We're so tired of, okay, we got to play this game with you because you can't handle what we're really doing. We are not over here with a t-shirt and some short shorts. Sir, we're working. What do you want?
Oh my God. Yeah, right.
But so we've been trained to do that though, right?
Yeah, we have to unlearn. I know I had to. how, and this probably not, this isn't part of the questions, but I want to ask you, since you were talking about it, do you ever come across, excuse me, across men that might say you're intimidating?
Absolutely, all the time. And at first that used to get on my nerves.
Yeah.
And what I realized, when a man says that to me, he's not standing in his power. And I process that he cannot lead me. And it's unfortunate, but in my mind, I process that he cannot lead me. So you heard me give my story. Just think about all the pain and the drama and the trauma that I had to overcome to get to this joy, the things I had to push through to get to be who I am, right? So if a man tells me that I'm intimidating, probably unconsciously, I've already slid him over into this category of he's not a possible mate for me. Because what he's got to be able to do is not let those words come out of his mouth, right? Because he's not standing in his power, and he's not going to attract a woman who knows who she is, who's had to, go through a lot of the bumps and bruises alone, and build a life that she likes and that she loves. Because remember, if you're trying to date someone, you're going to now come into their space. We're bringing you and your space over into this person and their space and the spaces that they created. And so I have heard that. And it's always just been so sad, because I'm like, how? And then I'm like, instead of telling someone that they're intimidating, what can you do to get yourself to being more confident, able to, have the conversations with the woman that you think is intimidating? Usually it's because of height. I'm almost 6 feet tall. I am a go-getter, I can't help it. I had to be, right? I had to take care of me and 2 boys, or what, right? I know the word of God. I know my faith. I know what I believe. I know who I am. I know what I want to do and what I don't want to do. And a pet peeve is for somebody to tell me who I am and what I want to do when I'm looking at you telling you that's not what I want to do. You know what I mean? So I don't like to play the games. Yeah. And so it's interesting, but I think that we have to do more training of our men, if that makes sense. And I think it's got to come from men who are great leaders, men who do have the good families. They stay quiet now. They're like, I'm going to drink my tea and mind my business. When what we really need you to do is like they used to do back in the old days, when it was a community and a village, and we helped and we got in people's business and we said, hey, bro, you shouldn't be doing your family like that. You shouldn't be doing your good wife like that, or your kids like that, or, call your kids, even if you don't get along with the mom. Don't give up on those babies. Help make sure they have what they need. If she put you on child support, it must have been for a reason. Maybe she begged you for 2 years, in my case, and told you she was going to do it. And the amount that you're sending really still isn't enough. So get over it, That's real. And, unfortunately, we just have where those kind of conversations, I don't think, are happening to our males. And so we have this, even where there's some women who have chosen to be single mothers. I have a few friends who are like, I'm a solo mom, and that's what they call themselves, because they knew they wanted a baby, but they didn't necessarily want the guy. And I think we all see signs, you know what I mean, of like, this is just not going to work. And then maturity level. So let's talk about that question, and let's segue, if you don't mind. I know I don't want to hold you up all day, but let's talk about this last little thing. When a man dates you for 5 years, y'all break up, and he marries the next woman. Some women feel some type of way about that one. I know this is your interview, but I feel like I should ask you. Some of these single moms feel some type of way about that one. Let's hear what you got to say, Mr. Heineman.
That's the very show I'm editing right now. I just did a whole show on that about a week ago. Kid you not, you must have seen my video files or something.
I did it.
That's crazy. I'm doing this editing now. Anyway, that's a good one. I think a lot of times now you're talking about as far as the way women feel?
The way women feel, and then let's get the man's viewpoint, because I tell women, he knew he was not going to marry you. You were good. You were great for the moment. You were everything you needed to be. For who he has in his mind and for what he wants, he knew he did not want to do that. So you can already tell that a dude is going to have to be able to handle me. you could already, you could tell if we ever come across some danger, I'm not gonna be able to be over here and be like, okay, sweetie, you got it. I'm gonna be like, what? I know. And he's gonna be like, okay, so this is my wife. She's gonna jack you up if you don't move.
Hey, that's what's up. I gotta respect that. I mean, we
But you get what I'm saying. It's like, I think that these men know, some of them, not all, but I think some of them have an idea that for who they really are, they may not have been showing her who they really are. They know this is not what they want to be in for 20, 30 years, but it's good for right now. So a lot of people like them good for right now situations. And then sometimes you come across like, man, that's the 80% I've been looking for. I better not let that pass by.
Yeah,
and
right.
scooped up. And then sometimes I think it really is like, they knew they messed up and they can't go back to you. So they better get this good thing that's in front of them. Those are my three.
Yeah.
What you say? What say you?
I I agree. I think, like you said, for the moment, men are very caught up in the moment. Like, this is where I'm at right now. Especially if you really good to him. And unfortunately, I think men get more lazy quicker in relationships. Like, they just settle in. They're like, okay, I got her. I quote unquote kind of conquered the prize. I got her. Now I'm just going to kind of trail off and just kind of, roll over and die.
I'm a coast. I'm a be this. I got my routine.
Yep.
This is who I am. This is how I am.
Yep.
And we're asking you to be more than you are. We want you to grow. We want
right. She wants you to be ambitious. She wants you to buy her some roses just because, hey, babe, I was thinking about you. But guys get so complacent. I'm like, no, you have to be intentional every day. Every day you wake up, be intentional.
Because we are. Did you not hear me tell you that 1,000 things I do a day? How I'm thinking ahead. I'm thinking about my boys. If I'm dating somebody, I'm thinking about them.
Mm-hmm.
And we're lining it all up. And we just want y'all to do a little bit of that. Right?
That's right. And I tell guys, I'm like, it's almost sad, but it's true. If a man is willing to put in half of the work, the return on investment, like the way you're going to look out for him, is tenfold compared to the little measly work that you're willing to put in. You buy her some roses, she'll go get a house.
I mean, it's like, know who you have, and that's the biggest tragedy. Know who you have the ability to be in community with. And I'm trying to be, PG. Know who you have the ability
keep it 100, please.
Community with. Really pay attention to that woman, and really pay attention to your man if you're lucky enough to have one out here. That's a good man to you ladies. But so your answer is men are lazy. And so when he marries the next woman, why did he marry her?
Why he married her? Maybe because he leveled up. Maybe he got some confidence. Can I be transparent for a moment? That's cool.
I like that. I love that. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I hope, and these people probably not listening, but some of the people that I've dated in the past, it's because I didn't have the confidence I have now. I wasn't confident the way I am now. Now I feel like I can take over the world now, so I got the woman according to my confidence.
Oh, that makes sense. That's interesting. None of us want to be the 50% you dated, but we understand.
Yeah.
We understand, and it's the truth. It is absolutely the truth. There was a guy that I dated, now that you say that, he was shorter than me. I have a habit of not dating people who are shorter than me.
Can I ask you about that? About people, would you date somebody shorter than you?
No. No, I tried that one time. It was horrible. And so what he did was he did all the things we're talking about. He demonstrated confidence. He chased me. He paid for everything. We had so much fun. He, did all of this. He really looked like he would be a great mate, a great stepdad. I brought him around my kids. We dated for 3 years. And then I started seeing some controlling things come out, and I was just like, this I'm not doing, because you need to understand. You do need to understand, you do not want to get me to the point to where I say anything out of my mouth that is disrespectful or manhandle you.
Yeah.
That's not how I am. That's not my energy. That's not how I want to be. But that's what I started experiencing from him, because he said he didn't have a problem with my height, but he had a problem with my height. And he didn't want me to wear heels. He was jealous of other men. And I'm like, you do know that is not at all who I am. I have 2 children I've raised by myself. So I just don't have hoe in me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like if I'm with somebody, I'm with somebody. So it was so interesting to see that, unfold. And so I will tell you that because of that experience, he can be 5'11", sir. I mean, listen, but I'm just gonna need you to go on. I would prefer you to be taller than me. You understand what I'm saying? And so that's unfortunate, because then we limit the dating pool, right? When we do that, we limit some of the 80%, the 95% in that dating pool. But I think too, what happens is that we also should be allowed to date people we're attracted to and interested in. And the first things that we see happen to be physical sometimes, right? So no man out here, Halle Berry's boyfriend is not out here, okay? Because Halle is in love and I love it. I love to see it. He is not out here talking about, well, I'm gonna go over here with the 65% because, who am I to try to date Halle Berry? No, I'm gonna go on and go get this 100 over here because I can. And so I think women shouldn't be told to date the man who isn't, who you're normally attracted to if he's good to you, because that's what that was. That was an experiment in me dating a man who wasn't my typical. And I know there are plenty of women who have stories like he wasn't my typical, but we're married and happy. That's amazing, ma'am. I'm gonna need him to have some height. Okay. I just need him to have some height.
Yeah, because that percentage shrinks,
Start with the height, and I might do 75 of what I'm looking for. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, because I don't know. I don't know. I don't think, some guys struggle with that if they have a woman who's now. I will say this. I'm just gonna be honest, since we're kicking it.
We're kicking it.
Yeah, we're kicking it, right? We just totally got off track, but I think this is what it's supposed to be.
It's supposed to be a conversation. It's fine.
Yeah. My wife is like 5'6". I'm 5'8".
Y'all think that's sexy though. Y'all think that's sexy. You taller than her, that's all that matters. Y'all think tall men think dating a shorter woman is the cutest, most sexiest thing. Shorter men think that dating a taller woman, man, I'm gonna conquer her, I'm gonna get her, and he's gonna walk around so proud, right?
Yeah.
And so, it's we all have our things. We all have our things. But your wife is 5'6", you're 5'8".
Yeah.
And you were saying.
And one night we went out to dinner, and she got these heels. Now, this is the first time I got to experience my woman being taller than me.
Wow.
So she put on these heels. So she's probably like almost 5'10" now. She big heels.
You really doing what need to be done. Wow, sis. Come on, sis.
I loved it. But when we walked in a restaurant, us holding hands, I got to experience, this is what shorter guys kind of feel like when it comes to being with taller women. But I thought it was cool because I'm at a certain level of my confidence. I'm like, well, you can keep them heels on. You can keep the heels on when we get home.
Heels on until we get to the house. I'm gonna need you to keep them heels on, girl. Right. And so that's exactly what it is, that confidence. And so when I said earlier about the man, when you said people, do they ever say you intimidate them?
Yeah.
Like you have got to, and it can't be like you're faking it. Do the work to where you come to your woman and you're always in your power of being the leader. You're in that power of she can be who she is and you can get to be who you are. And, nobody is inferior. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I love that you love that about her. But yeah, I bet the restaurant, everybody was sitting there thinking, his woman's shorter than him, his woman's taller than him. And who cares? You have to get to that point of who cares. Yeah. Man, I have a friend, her husband is like 7'7" and she's like 6'2". And it's just, I'm like, not 7'7", 6'7". He's 6'7", and she's 6'2". And for them to be that tall and him to be that much more taller is hilarious. But I mean, you're not going to ask a 6'2" woman to date a man that's 5'10" or 5'8". Now, I know they exist and I know they're out there, but that's because those two people have dealt with if there was an issue or not, and the fact that they love each other is overriding all of it. Let us all have our nice and shining armor. That's all I'm saying. You got your queen.
I agree. And because let's be honest, attraction is real. You got to have it. Especially if you plan on spending the rest of your life with this person.
You got to have it.
Yeah. So we got to keep it 100 with that. We are running out of time.
I know. You got to ask me about, what I'm doing in the books and all that stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let's talk about your books. You've written 2 of them.
Mm-hmm.
And what inspired you to write? Because the second book is a devotional, right?
Yes. The second book is a devotional. The first book has my boobas on it. Right. This is Do It Anyway, the single mom's guide to living life and achieving her goals. What caused me to write this book was, we were all on Twitter back then. Yeah. And everybody and their mama would stop me and ask me, how are my boys so well behaved? And I mean, single moms were doing it. Married people were doing it. It was just happening. It was just coming out of the woodworks. And that's how I got into blogging and how I started writing books, because I realized that people really need to know how to balance and handle their lives, right? So I wrote the book to help single mothers figure out how to get to that place of wholeness, to get that to happiness, to get to where they could balance being a single mom, they could stand it. This stigma wasn't driving them crazy. And I thought about the steps I had gone through, right? To take the leap of faith, to move from Louisiana to Texas, to go through my healing process, to not care whether this guy was helping or not. And I put it all in the book. So I put 12 steps and it's called, Do It Anyway for a reason, because so much of what I've had to do as a single mom is I had to do it anyway. I was tired. I still had to show up. I was exhausted, still had to show up. I was angry about having to do it by myself. I still had to show up, And so that first step is healing. Then we find our purpose, then we find our people, and then it just keeps on going. So the second book I wrote right after, about a year later, because so much of my journey has been because of my faith. All of who I am is because the good Lord has been good to me. Yes. And I wrote a devotional that centered on single parenting issues, like things we encounter. And I put God's word next to it. And then I share stories from my life and from coaching other moms, just things that would help other women relate. And so the devotional has 5 stars. Do It Anyway had 5 stars. Some hater went out there and didn't leave a review, but put like a 1. And I think they really think that 1 is good. So, they messed up my rating, but it's had 5 stars since it was written. And that's because for people who are going through something, for people who are in the throes of single parenting, who need, information, they need they need to know that help is out there. It's like the guiding light. And so I love what I do. You can find me at kwondalam.com. I also speak Spanish. I've started, 2 Spanish brands, and I have Spanish for Black girls and Spanish for small business. And so, si ustedes necesitan aprender la lengua, llámeme. Entonces, llámeme. These men be like, say something in Spanish. I'd be like, hola, ¿cómo estás?
Love it.
Thanks for having me, bro. This has been fun.
This has been fun. Before you go, I just want to acknowledge you for kicking butt and taking names later. I just want to acknowledge you for being a shining light for single moms, and especially being influenced and letting single moms know that they can do it. And you raising 2 young, respectable young men. So that speaks volumes to your parenting.
Thank you.
I just want to acknowledge you, for just staying the course all these years, because even though life happens, you still continue to press on. You said, I'm going to do it anyway.
Yes, absolutely. And we're not done yet. So thank you so much, Sean.
Yeah.
Don't give up. There's hope. We just got to keep pushing.
Don't give up. And where can they get your books from? Can you give us?
Yes. Sorry to cut you off. You can.
Where can they get the books?
You can find the books at kwondalam.com/shop and also on Amazon.
Okay. Okay. Well, Bravehearts community, you heard it here. Make sure you connect with Kay Wanda. She is awesome because, you know, I only bring the best on the show. So make sure you grab both of those books or share with a friend. I know you probably know a single mom. We talked about these statistics. So go pick the book up. Make sure you leave a rating and review. If you're listening to this via podcast, leave a rating and review on Apple or wherever you listen to your streaming platforms. And make sure you hit the subscribe button on YouTube. This is Sean Heineman at It's Scary to Remarry, wanting you to love fearlessly with special guest, Kay Wanda.
K. Wanda Lamb.
Yes, take care, people. Be blessed.